You could sell your condo and help your sister. It's what family does. My mother said those words with a practiced smile, but her eyes weren't on me, they were scanning my new home for things to liquidate. After 2 years of total silence, they didn't fly to Raleigh for a hug. They came for a $190,000 bailout for a sister who forgot I existed until I became successful. For 28 years, I was the invisible daughter. I was the one who cleaned their spills, gave up my vacation days to babysit so my sister could party, and walked 2 blocks behind my mother on my own 8th birthday while she cooed over my sister's stained dress. I wasn't a daughter to them. I was a tool, a babysitter, and a convenient extra wallet. But the girl who used to beg for a scrap of attention is gone. When they demanded my life savings to pay for their greed, I didn't cry. I didn't even raise my voice. I simply opened the front door. I am no longer interested in pretending, I told my mother before the line went dead. The bank is at their door, and for the first time in my life, the silence doesn't feel like a void, it feels like a victory. Welcome to my story. Enjoy listening. I stand at the kitchen counter, crimping the edges of my homemade cherry pie with fingers that know the motion by heart. Through the window, Ohio summer light falls across the granite countertop, warming my hands as I work. From the living room comes the familiar weekend soundtrack, the low drone of baseball announcers, my father's occasional grunt of disapproval at a bad play, my mother's voice calling after my nieces. "Careful with that vase," Mom shouts, her footsteps quick across the hardwood. "Ashley, can you please watch the girls?" My sister does not answer. Instead, I hear her voice, bright and professional, streaming from her phone to her online audience. "Ladies, this shawl is 100% cashmere and we only have 5 left in inventory. VIP members, remember to comment first to reserve yours." I press the last crimp into the pie crust and slide it into the oven, setting the timer before wiping my hands on the dish towel tucked into my waistband. The roasted chicken needs to rest another 10 minutes. The salad is ready in the refrigerator, dressing on the side. Everything is timed perfectly for Saturday lunch, just like always. "I got a promotion," I announced to the room, my voice neither too loud nor too soft. "Just matter of fact, senior clinical specialist, they are transferring me to the Raleigh office." The baseball game continues. Ashley's sales pitch does not falter. Mom hurries past the kitchen doorway, chasing a giggling 4-year-old. No one looks up. No one says a word. I stand very still in the center of the kitchen, feeling my announcement evaporate into the air like steam. It should not surprise me anymore, this feeling of being invisible, and yet somehow it always does. Later, we gather around the dining table, the one with the scratch near my place that I have polished countless times, never quite able to buff it away. The food I have spent the morning preparing sits in serving dishes I carefully arranged: golden brown chicken with crisp skin, salad bright with heirloom tomatoes and yellow peppers, warm sourdough rolls, and the cherry pie cooling on the counter. "This looks wonderful," Dad says to no one in particular, already spearing a piece of chicken. "Mom, Lily won't eat her vegetables," Ashley complains, barely glancing up from her phone where she is still typing responses to customers. "Greer, would you mind cutting her chicken into smaller pieces?" Mom asks, not waiting for my answer before turning back to Ashley. "How are sales going today, honey?" I cut Lily's chicken into tiny, perfect squares while answering a question no one asked me. The position comes with a 15% raise and relocation bonus. I start in 3 weeks. Ashley's phone pings. $2,000 in sales today already, she announces, looking up for the first time. Mom and Dad both turn to her, their faces bright with the special smiles they save for her accomplishments. "That's wonderful, sweetheart." Mom beams. "Smart business decision, taking your boutique online," Dad adds, nodding approvingly. The warmth of the chicken seeps into my fingers as I arrange it carefully on my niece's plate, but my chest feels hollow, cool. I have learned to identify this feeling. Not quite anger, not quite sadness. Something in between, like disappointment that has grown so familiar it no longer surprises. Mom turns to me, but only to say, "There is a spill on the floor by the sink, would you mind?" I clean the spill, serve the pie, wash the dishes. When Ashley's youngest drops his fork, I am there with a new one before he can cry. When Dad wants more coffee, I refill his cup without being asked. This is the rhythm we have established over years. They need. I provide. They ask. I answer. They overlook. I accept. The pattern runs deeper than today's lunch. Last Christmas, I spent 4 days helping Ashley wrap her inventory for holiday sales while she attended parties. 3 months ago, I used my vacation days to watch her kids while she went to a fashion expo. 2 weeks before that, I drove Mom to 5 different stores looking for the exact shade of curtains she wanted for Ashley's living room. Ashley has the kids. Mom had explained once when I mentioned the uneven distribution of family responsibilities. She needs more help than you do. The truth hangs in the air between us, unspoken but understood. Ashley has the kids, the struggling business, the constant drama that keeps everyone's attention. I have nothing that makes me essential except my willingness to help. After lunch, while Ashley live streams her afternoon sales session and Mom takes the girls shopping, I sit at the kitchen counter and compose a message to the family group chat. My fingers hover over the screen before I type. Got my official transfer paperwork today. Moving to Raleigh, NC on the 15th. Promotion to senior clinical specialist. Very excited for this opportunity. I press send, watching the message deliver with its little swoosh animation. One by one, the read receipts appear beside each family member's name. Mom, Dad, Ashley, no responses. I drive home to my apartment across town, the sun setting behind me. My phone pings as I unlock my door, and for a moment, hope flutters in my chest. The notification shows Mom has sent a photo to the group chat. I open it. Ashley's daughter's eating leftover pie, faces smeared with cherry filling. The caption reads, "Someone couldn't wait for dessert." Another ping, Ashley this time. Just hit $2,800 in sales today, new record. I set my phone on the kitchen counter, screen down. Standing alone in my silent apartment, I feel a tear track slowly down my cheek, then another. I do not bother to wipe them away. There is no one here to notice them anyway. The humid Ohio air has finally given way to the crisp finality of moving day. The last cardboard box, filled with odds and ends, slides into place on the back seat. I shut the door with a satisfying thunk, like closing a chapter. My rented apartment stands empty behind me, a shell I will never return to. The movers already took the furniture yesterday. My phone vibrates in my pocket. Mom's name flashes on the screen. Come home Saturday to watch kids for your sister. Her live stream sales have a special event. I stare at the screen, tapping my fingers against the metal door of the truck. 2 weeks since lunch. 2 weeks of silence after my announcement. And now this. A command, not a question. I type back, I can't. I'm going to North Carolina today. No apology, no unnecessary details, just the plain truth. I slide my phone back into my pocket and climb into the driver's seat. The engine rumbles to life, vibrating beneath my hands. 3 states to cross before nightfall. I tune the radio to an oldies station, the Temptations singing about the way things used to be. Hours pass without a reply. The highways stretch before me, mile markers clicking by like memories. My 8th birthday. Mom had promised me that Mickey Mouse cake from the grocery store bakery, the one with the thick, sugary frosting I'd been eyeing for weeks. But then, Ashley spilled orange juice down the front of her sundress. She wailed as if the world were ending, and just like that, I vanished. Mom went into full crisis mode, frantically dabbing at the fabric and ushering a sobbing Ashley toward the exit to go home and change. I stood there, 8 years old, clutching the counter and watching them walk out the door without a single glance back. They simply forgot I existed. After a few seconds of stunned silence, I ran after them. I trailed 2 blocks behind them all the way home in the humid Ohio heat, watching my mother's back as she kept her arm around Ashley, cooing and comforting her the entire time. She never once turned around to see if I was still following. My high school graduation, Dad leaving halfway through to pick up Ashley from a failed job interview, missing my honor society recognition. My college graduation, the family arriving late, distracted because Ashley's then boyfriend had just broken up with her. My first promotion. The group dinner I paid for, where Mom spent the entire evening helping Ashley browse apartment listings on her phone. The pattern reveals itself, stretched across the years like the highway before me. Not isolated incidents, but a deliberate architecture. The mountains of West Virginia rise around me, then fall away as I press southward. My phone remains silent until I cross the Virginia border. "What do you mean you're going to North Carolina?" Mom finally responds, 7 hours later. I do not answer. Let her wonder for once. The radio shifts to Billy Joel singing about moving out. I turn up the volume, one hand steady on the wheel as the landscape changes around me. By sunset, I reach Raleigh. The air feels different here, warmer, fresher somehow. I park outside my temporary apartment complex, climb the stairs with my overnight bag, and fall onto the bed fully clothed. For the first night in 28 years, no one knows exactly where I am. The thought feels dangerous, exhilarating. The passing weeks allow me to settle into a rhythm until I can recognize my kitchen cabinets in the dark. I have learned the fastest route to work and found a coffee shop that remembers my order. Small victories in a foreign land. My phone lights up one Sunday evening. A notification from the family group chat. Family party this weekend. Aunt Corinne turning 60. Come early to set the table and help with kids. Mom again. I stare at the message, a familiar weight settling on my chest. They have completely forgotten, or they are pretending to have forgotten. I am not sure which is worse. I do not respond. Saturday comes. I spend it unpacking my last boxes, arranging books alphabetically on shelves, placing framed photos of places, not people, on my walls. At 3:17 p.m., my phone explodes with notifications. Where are you? Mom's text shouts in all capitals. Everyone's asking about you. Dad, chiming in unusually. We saved you cherry pie. Ashley, with the least subtle bribe in history. Then, at 5:42 p.m., the incoming missile. I never thought you'd be this selfish, after everything we've done for you. Your sister had to handle all the kids herself while I cooked. Your father had to help arrange the tables. You've let the entire family down. I wait until after dinner, seated on my new couch in my new apartment in my new city. Then I call, not text. This deserves voice. Mom answers on the first ring. Finally decided to acknowledge your responsibilities? Mom, I say, keeping my voice level. I moved to North Carolina almost a month ago. I told everyone. I sent messages. I cannot come set tables in Ohio anymore. Well, you could have reminded us, she sniffs. Your sister was very disappointed. I am sorry she was disappointed. How was Aunt Corinne's party? Hectic. Without you here to help. Your father had to, she continues, listing the inconveniences my absence caused. Not once does she ask about my new apartment, my new job, my new life. When she pauses for breath, I try again. The new position is going well. I am learning. That's nice, dear. Listen, Ashley's thinking about expanding her online boutique and needs some startup money. Since you got that raise, we thought. I have to go, Mom. I interrupt. Someone is at the door. I hang up before she can respond. Sitting in the new silence of my apartment, something inside me goes cold. A circuit tripped, a light extinguished. I have spent my life reaching toward them, straining for acknowledgement, and they have spent theirs looking through me. They do not see me as a person, just a resource. The realization settles into my bones, not with the hot flash of anger but the cool clarity of truth. I have been waiting for something that does not exist, their recognition of me as someone with needs, rather than just someone who meets theirs. I stare at my phone, expecting the guilt to come flooding in. The urge to call back, to apologize, to make things right. It does not come. Instead, I feel lighter, like I have set down a heavy bag I have been carrying so long I forgot it was there. For the first time in my life, I do not call back, do not apologize, do not explain. The world has not ended because I prioritized myself. And that, I am starting to believe, might be the most important lesson of all. The morning sunlight spills across hardwood floors for the 730th time since I arrived here. It has been 2 years since I left Ohio, since I walked away from the family that never quite saw me. 2 years of bonuses, raises, and a life built entirely on my own terms. I towel my hair dry and catch my reflection in the bathroom mirror. At 30, my face has lost the eager-to-please softness it once carried. My shoulders no longer hunch forward. ready to absorb whatever task might be thrown my way. Toby's nails clattered against the hardwood as he trotted to the bathroom door, his light brown curls pristine and perfectly coiffed from his recent spa visit. He tilted his head, poodle ears perked in that silent, knowing question he always asked. "Yes, Your Majesty. Breakfast is next," I tell him, wrapping myself in a robe. My condo in North Hills feels lived in now, not like the temporary spaces I inhabited back in Ohio. The second bedroom serves as my home office, where certificates of achievement line the walls, visible reminders of a career that flourishes when not overshadowed by family drama. The coffee machine hums to life with a press of a button. While it brews, I prepare Toby's breakfast, his tail wagging in perfect rhythm to the morning routine we have established. There is a peacefulness to these moments, a rhythm untainted by the constant alerts of a family group chat or the sudden demands for my time. Park after work? I ask Toby, who responds with an enthusiastic circle dance that makes me laugh. I'll take that as a yes. The park has become our evening sanctuary. It is where Toby met Benji the Beagle 3 months ago, and where I met Jackson, Benji's owner. Jackson runs his fingers through dark hair streaked with early gray, as he stands near the dog park fence later that day. At 33, he carries himself with the quiet confidence of someone who builds things that matter. His rehabilitation equipment startup helps people recover from injuries, a purpose I understand intimately through my work with medical devices. "There she is," he says as Toby and I approach. "I was telling Benji you might stand us up for some exciting medical emergency." "And miss watching these two chase squirrels?" "Never." I release Toby from his leash, watching him bound toward Benji in a flurry of paws and fur. Jackson leans against the fence beside me, our shoulders not quite touching. "How was the Cooper presentation?" "They loved the new device specifications." I smile, still getting used to sharing professional victories with someone who actually wants to hear them. "How about the prototype testing?" 3 successful trials today." He points toward a bench. "Want to sit?" We settle onto the bench, a careful few inches between us that somehow feels more intimate than touching. There is none of the desperate need for closeness I used to feel with previous boyfriends, that urgent desire to secure their attention before they noticed my ordinariness. With Jackson, space feels comfortable, not threatening. The evening air carries the scent of artisanal wood-fired pizza from a nearby restaurant. My stomach reminds me I skipped lunch for the Cooper presentation. "Hungry?" Jackson asks, noticing my expression. "There is a new farm-to-table bistro that opened last week. I hear their seared scallops are amazing." 40 minutes later, we sit across from each other at a corner table, the restaurant's exposed brick walls and warm lighting creating a cocoon of privacy. I am midway through describing a challenging client interaction when my phone buzzes. The screen lights up with a notification from the family group chat that has been silent for months. My hand freezes above my water glass. The familiar tightness constricts my chest, that Pavlovian response to family contact that precedes inevitable disappointment. Jackson's eyes flick to my phone, then back to my face, but he does not ask. This is what I appreciate most about him. He notices everything but does not pry, does not demand an explanation for my reactions. I turn the phone face down without reading the message. "Sorry," I say, "just old patterns trying to resurface." Jackson nods, understanding without needing details. Old patterns have a way of doing that. It does not mean we have to follow them. "No," I agree, picking up my fork again. "We certainly don't." The waiter brings our entrees, and the conversation shifts to Jackson's latest design challenge. By dessert, I have forgotten about the unread message entirely. 3 days later, my cousin Sienna perches on my couch, Toby stretched across her lap like a furry blanket. At 22, she is the only family member who has made any effort to stay connected since I moved. "This place is gorgeous, Greer," she says, looking around my living room with genuine admiration. The warm lighting casts gentle shadows across the minimalist matte stoneware and comfortable furniture I chose piece by piece, a stark contrast to the hand-me-downs that furnished my apartment in Ohio. "Thanks. It took a while to get it just right." I hand her a glass of wine, settling into the armchair opposite. "How is the cross-country adventure going?" "Exhausting, but amazing." Sienna scratches behind Toby's ears. "I've hit 12 states so far. Raleigh was definitely worth the detour, though. It is nice seeing you." Happy. She says the word like she is discovering it applies to me, and perhaps she is. The Greer she knew in Ohio rarely had cause for happiness. I am happy. I confirm, surprised by how easily I can say it now. Work is going well. I have friends, Jackson. I trail off, feeling my cheeks warm slightly. He seems great from what you've told me. Sienna reaches for her phone. While she types on her phone, I bring our dinner to the coffee table pasta carbonara made from a recipe Jackson shared, nothing like the elaborate meals I used to prepare for family gatherings that went unappreciated. Posted, Sienna announces, showing me the screen. The photo of my living room looks warm and inviting, but it is her caption that catches my breath. At my cousin Greer's home, she's got her own place, a wonderful boyfriend, and a life worth admiring. My stomach drops. Sienna is so genuinely happy for me that she hasn't considered the fallout. I want to tell her to take it down immediately, but it's already too late. Our relatives are already descending upon the comment section like vultures. Aunt Karen wants to know what neighborhood you live in. Uncle Rob is asking if you bought or if you're just renting. Sienna says, scrolling through the feed, completely oblivious to the digital footprint she's just handed to people I've spent 2 years trying to escape. By morning, notifications flood Sienna's phone likes, comments, and messages from relatives who barely acknowledged my existence before. I take a sip of coffee, unsurprised. They never showed this much interest when I announced my promotion. Oh, it gets better. Sienna's thumb pauses over the screen. Your mom commented, "So lovely to see how well our Greer is doing." As if she's been involved in your life at all. The hollowness in my chest, that old familiar feeling, does not come. Instead, I feel oddly detached, as if observing strangers discuss someone who merely shares my name. That evening, after dropping Sienna at her hostel, I tell Jackson about the social media storm while we walk our dogs along a tree-lined path. Are you going to respond to any of them? He asks, voice carefully neutral. I am not planning to reach out first, I say after considering for a moment. But if they contact me directly, I'll need to decide how to respond. Jackson nods, reaching for my hand. Your boundaries are valid, Greer. Stand by them. I plan to, I say, squeezing his fingers. They can only take what I choose to give now. When my phone chimes at 11:43 p.m. That night, I am already half asleep. The screen illuminates with a message from my mother. How have you been, honey? Your father and I miss you so much. Before I can process this sudden affection after 2 years of silence, another notification appears, Ashley this time. So happy you're doing well. Your place looks amazing. My heart rate accelerates as I sit up in bed, Toby lifting his head from his cushion in concern. 2 years of silence, and now, this flurry of sudden interest. The final message lands like a bomb. We already booked flights from Columbus to Raleigh. We will arrive around noon tomorrow. The kids cannot wait to see their aunt. I stare at the screen, suspended between disbelief and a ridiculous flicker of hope. Maybe they have changed. Maybe they finally see me. But their timing, right after seeing evidence of my success, tells a different story. I send a brief text to Jackson. Are you awake? Can we talk for a minute? I know he hasn't slept yet. His late-night habits are a map I've long since memorized. My phone rings almost the second the message is sent, Jackson's name appearing on the screen. I answer, my voice steadier than I expected. They are coming tomorrow, I say without preamble. All of them. They have already booked flights. His breath catches audibly. That's sudden. Very. What are you thinking? I consider the question, sorting through the tangle of emotions. I am thinking they would not be coming if Sienna had not posted that photo. Probably not, he agrees. There is a pause then. If you feel ready, see them, but do not let them make you feel guilty again. As I set my phone down, I realize my hands are not shaking. The panic I would have felt 2 years ago has been replaced by something cooler, more calculated. They are coming to my territory now, into a life I have built without them, and this time, I make the rules. I arrange the last throw pillow on my sofa, smoothing the fabric with a deliberate touch. The room is perfect, every surface gleaming, every object precisely positioned. This is my space, my home. My rules. The doorbell rings at 12:15 p.m. I count to 10 before answering, a small act of control that steadies my racing heart. Greer. Mom surges forward, wrapping me in a hug so tight I can smell her familiar perfume. Oh, sweetheart, it has been too long. 2 years and 3 months, to be exact. 2 years of birthdays, holidays, and milestones, celebrated without a single call. I return her hug with measured pressure, neither pulling away nor melting into her embrace. Dad stands awkwardly behind her, a box in his hands. Hey, kiddo. His hug is brief, one-armed. His eyes already dart past me to the television mounted on my living room wall. Game's on today, Bengals playing. Ashley appears last, her children racing past her into my condo before I can even greet them. Your place is gorgeous, she says, air kissing my cheek. The girls are so excited to see their aunt. The girls barely know me because their mother never bothered to maintain our connection. We brought cake, Mom announces, taking the box from Dad. Meyer lemon bundt cake, your favorite. Strawberry shortcake has been my favorite since I was 7. I wonder if she genuinely does not remember, or if this is just another small erasure of who I actually am. Thank you, I say, the words falling from my lips with practiced ease. Let me put on some tea. In the kitchen, I hear the television switch on, followed by Dad's satisfied grunt as he finds the game. The girls' voices rise in pitch as they race around my living room, their sneakers thudding against my hardwood floors. From the corner of my eye, I watch one of them grab a crystal paperweight Jackson gave me for my birthday. Amelia. I call out, my voice calm but firm. Please put that back where you found it. Ashley laughs, high and nervous. Oh, they're just exploring. Kids, you know. I know they should respect other people's things, I respond, setting the kettle on the stove. In my home, we do not touch what does not belong to us. A flicker of surprise crosses her face. The girl carefully returns the paperweight, casting a wary glance in my direction before rejoining her sister. Mom wanders into the kitchen, running her finger along my granite countertop. This must have cost a fortune, she says, disapproval lacing her words. Your place is so extravagant. I pour hot water over tea bags, letting them steep. I like my home. The company must pay you very well. Ashley joins us, leaning against the doorframe. What's the salary range for someone in your position these days? I place cookies on a serving plate, taking my time before answering. Competitive. But are we talking 6 figures? Her voice is casual, but her eyes are sharp. Do you get bonuses, stock options? The benefits are excellent, I reply, lifting the tea tray. Shall we sit in the living room? Ashley's questions continue through our first cup of tea. Does my company match 401k contributions? How much is my mortgage payment? Did I have to put 20% down? Each query is designed to assess exactly how much money I might have access to. With each non-answer, her fingers tap faster against her cup, her smile growing tighter. Dad, I say, during a brief lull in her financial interrogation, how is your volunteer work with the Youth Baseball League going? The shift works. For 10 minutes, conversation flows around safer topics. Dad's coaching, a cousin's new baby, Mom's garden club. I notice how Ashley's shoulders tense with each passing moment that does not involve my financial situation. When her oldest daughter knocks over a vase of fresh white hydrangeas, sending water across my coffee table, I rise immediately. Girls, I say firmly, in this house, we sit calmly on furniture. We do not run or jump on the sofa. Greer, Mom begins, her voice carrying that familiar tone of correction. They are just being children, I know, and children need boundaries. I hand each girl a small book from my shelf. Here, these were my favorites when I was your age. Mom's mouth hangs open, clearly unused to me setting terms in any interaction. Ashley's smile has completely vanished now, replaced by a tight line of frustration. You've changed, Mom says finally, setting down her teacup with a small clink. Yes, I agree simply. The room falls silent except for the baseball game and the soft sound of pages turning as the girls, surprisingly, settle into reading. Dad shifts uncomfortably in his seat. Ashley exchanges a look with Mom, the signal that it is time to reveal the real purpose of this visit. Mom leans forward, her practiced sigh filling the room. Greer, sweetheart, Ashley's been struggling. And there it is, the boutique. Ashley jumps in, voice tight with rehearsed emotion. After 5 years in retail, I thought I was ready. I had the experience, the customer base. The business failed within 8 months. Between the remaining 4 years on the commercial lease, the high-interest business loans, and the inventory credit, the total is north of $190,000. And since Mom and Dad co-signed the loan with their house as collateral, the bank is coming for everything. They have 90 days before foreclosure starts. They all lean forward now, a united front. Mom's eyes are wide with concern, Dad's expression solemn, Ashley's lower lip trembling perfectly on cue. You are doing so well, Mom says, her voice dropping to that special tone she uses when she wants something. You could sell your condo and help your sister. Dad clears his throat. You have a boyfriend with money. You do not need 2 homes. Think about the girls, Ashley adds, glancing toward her children. Help your sister and the children will have their mother back. I am barely sleeping with all this stress. The hollow feeling spreads through my chest, a familiar sensation, but one I now recognize for what it is. Not heartbreak, but clarity. I watch them with new eyes, seeing the performance for exactly what it is. Their sudden appearance after years of silence, the effusive greetings, the probing questions, all of it calculated. A memory surfaces, standing in my parents' kitchen announcing my promotion, the words evaporating. Another, texting about my move, and receiving photos of Ashley's children eating pie in return. Years of being overlooked until I became useful again. Ashley misinterprets my silence as hesitation. It's not like we're asking for a handout, she says. I will pay you back eventually. This is what family does, Mom adds. We help each other through hard times. I take a slow breath, feeling the weight of their expectations pressing against me. But for the first time in my life, I do not bend. I hear everything you've said, I say finally, my voice steady. What is there to think about? Ashley demands. We are family. Yes, I think as I look at these 3 people who share my blood but have never truly seen me, we are family. But I am finally beginning to understand what that word really means, and more importantly, what it doesn't. I sit perfectly still, my calm exterior a shield over the storm inside. 2 years of distance have given me perspective, but now, facing them again, I recognize the familiar weight of their expectations. They wait for my answer with the certainty of people who have never contemplated rejection. I have helped before, I say finally, my voice even and steady. I have tried for years to be heard, to be loved. All I ever got in return was silence and expectation. I look directly at my mother, then my father, finally resting my gaze on Ashley. I am done. Ashley's cheeks flush pink. But we are family. You cannot just... That word family, I interrupt, the first time I can remember cutting off my sister, should mean care and respect. Not debt collection. The words fall from my lips with a certainty I have never felt before. If being family only means I keep paying for everyone's mistakes, then no, I am not part of that version of family anymore. My father shifts uncomfortably, mouth opening then closing, words forming and dying before they reach his lips. The silence stretches between us. My mother's eyes fill with tears, carefully measured to fall at precisely the right moment. After all we have done for you. You are choosing money over your own family, Ashley accuses, voice rising. Remember when I helped you move into your first apartment? Remember all the birthdays, the Christmases? Mom and Dad won't be around forever, Greer, my mother adds, voice thick with emotion. Is this how you want things to be? I watch them deploy each weapon from their arsenal of guilt, recognizing the pattern like a familiar dance. They are performers who have practiced this routine for decades, and for the first time, I see the choreography clearly. We wouldn't ask if we weren't desperate. My father finally manages, a rare contribution that signals they have reached their final play. I take a slow breath. When I got my promotion 2 years ago, I told everyone at Saturday lunch. No one looked up. I sent a message to our group chat about moving to Raleigh. Everyone read it. No one responded. I keep my voice level, recounting facts rather than emotions. Last year on my birthday, my phone did not ring once. When I called Mom that evening, she said she had been busy helping Ashley with the boutique opening. My family sits in uncomfortable silence as I lay out the evidence. 3 Christmases ago, I spent 4 days helping Ashley wrap inventory. 2 summers ago, I used my vacation days to watch the kids while she went to that fashion expo. For years, I have been your babysitter, your extra wallet, your convenient helper. I keep my gaze steady. And now, after 2 years without a single meaningful call or message, you are here because you need $190,000. Ashley opens her mouth to object, but I continue. The last time we spoke, Mom, you hung up on me when I tried to tell you about my new job. That was the moment I realized what I was to this family. I stand up slowly, walking to the front door. I think that is enough for today. The sudden finality of my words sends a visible shock through my family. They gather their belongings awkwardly, no one quite meeting my eyes. My mother clutched her purse to her chest like armor. My father moves with the stiffness of someone navigating unfamiliar territory. Ashley herded her children toward the door, their earlier exuberance subdued by the tension in the room. As they file past me, Ashley pauses at the threshold. I didn't think you would become so cold, she says, the words meant to wound. I meet my sister's gaze directly. I did not become cold. I became clear. I close the door behind them with a soft click that echoes through my apartment. Standing motionless in my entryway, I breathe slowly, feeling something release in my chest, a weight I had carried for so long I had forgotten it was there. No dramatic tears come. No urge to scream or throw things. Just quiet certainty that I have, finally, done what was necessary for myself. My inbox fills with increasingly desperate messages over the next few days. My mother's pleading. My father's awkward attempts at reconciliation. Ashley's alternating between apologies and accusations. 2 weeks after their visit, a final email arrives from Ashley, detailing in clinical terms the financial consequences. The boutique will close. Our parents might need to sell their home. The children will suffer. I read it once, then file it away without response. The message is evidence that nothing has truly changed. They still see me as a resource rather than a person. I close my laptop and go to take Toby for his evening walk, leaving my phone behind on the kitchen counter. Outside, the North Carolina evening wraps around me like an embrace, the air scented with magnolias and possibility. For the first time in years, I walk without the weight of obligation pressing down on my shoulders. The passing weeks have restored my routine to a state of calm. Today, Jackson arrives at 7 p.m., the warm glow of sunset casting long shadows across my condo. He does not ring the bell or text, just 2 gentle knocks that Toby recognizes immediately. He trots to the door, tail swishing with anticipation. Ready? Jackson asks, his eyes scanning my face carefully. He does not press for details, does not ask how I am feeling after the confrontation. The absence of interrogation settles around us like a comfortable blanket. More than you know, I say, grabbing Toby's leash from the hook by the door. At Jackson's house, the kitchen smells of baked salmon and herbs, his grandmother's recipe, he told me once. I watch him move confidently between counter and stove, his hands steady as he arranges food on simple white plates. Benji and Toby curl up on the kitchen rug, their bodies forming a perfect yin and yang of fur and contentment. We eat mostly in silence. Not the strained quiet I grew up with, the heaviness of words unsaid, the constant vigilance for wrong moves, but something entirely different. Peace. The gentle clink of silverware against plates. The occasional appreciative hum, the soft patting of paws as the dogs shift positions. After dinner, standing at the sink as I rinse our plates, I find myself describing the scene with my family. My voice sounds distant, clinical, like I am recounting a movie I watched rather than my own life. Jackson takes the plate, wiping it carefully before placing it in the cabinet. You did what was right for you, he says simply. 2 years ago, I would have launched into explanations justifying my decision, offering evidence of past slights, building a case for my own defense. Tonight, I just nod. The freedom of not having to perform my reasoning feels weightless, buoyant. Later, As we sit on his back porch watching the dogs explore the yard, a realization settles over me like the evening air, cool and clarifying. My worth was never about my usefulness. The constant service, the desperate attempts to be indispensable, all of it was based on the flawed belief that being needed was the same as being loved. I think about my morning walks with Toby, how they have transformed from hurried necessities into peaceful rituals. My promotion last month to regional director, accepted without a whisper of guilt. The dinner club I joined where we talk about books and politics and silly TV shows, where no one keeps a tally of who hosted last. You know what is strange? I say, my voice soft in the gathering darkness. For years, I thought family meant blood relations, people you are stuck with. Now I realize it is about choice. The holiday photo card on my refrigerator flashes in my mind me with Jackson and our friends at the lake last summer, all genuine smiles and unforced joy. No stiff poses or color-coordinated outfits like the portraits of my childhood, just real people who choose each other's company. Months later, my phone vibrated while I was helping Jackson prune the hydrangeas in his backyard. My mother's name flashed on the screen. I hesitated, watching the late afternoon light catch the glass, before sliding my thumb across the screen. I didn't say hello, I simply waited. Greer, are you there? Her voice sounded thinner than I remembered, brittle, with a forced weariness that was clearly meant to be noticed. I'm here, Mom, I said. Well, she sighed, a long, shaky exhale that rattled through the receiver. It's been so quiet around here lately. Too quiet. Your father's knees are giving him trouble again, and ever since Ashley moved back into her old room with the girls, well, the house has been a circus. I can barely hear myself think. I looked at Jackson. He was watching me, his expression steady and grounding. I didn't fill the silence. I had finally learned that silence is a mirror, and I was simply holding it up for her to see herself. Anyway, she continued, her tone shifting into that practiced, martyr-like sweetness she'd used my whole life. I've been doing a lot of thinking about that trip to Raleigh. I'm sorry if you felt attacked. You know how your sister gets when she's backed into a corner, and your father and I, we just wanted peace. We did our best, Greer. We really did. It's a shame you walked away feeling like you weren't loved, because that was never the intent. There it was, the classic non-apology. The blame was still squarely on my perception, not her actions. I appreciate the call, Mom, I said, my voice as flat as an Ohio highway. Good, because your father's birthday is coming up. He keeps asking if I've heard from his big girl. We aren't going to talk about the business or the money anymore. We already dipped into the $401k for Ashley anyway. We just want the family back together. It would mean a lot to him if you could just come up for the weekend. We want to pretend that whole mess never happened. The ultimate weapon of the dysfunctional, the clean slate. Let's just forget I hurt you so I can start doing it again. I can't do that, Mom, I said. I felt a strange sense of pity for her, but it was distant, like watching a storm from a high-rise window. I'm no longer interested in pretending. Well, she huffed, the sweetness evaporating instantly to reveal the jagged edge underneath. I guess you really did become as cold as Ashley said. I hope that fancy condo keeps you warm at night, Greer. I really do. The line went dead. I set the phone on the patio table, screen down. My heart wasn't racing. My hands weren't shaking. I simply picked up the shears and went back to the hydrangeas. The sun was still out, the air was still sweet, and for the first time, the silence didn't feel like a void. It felt like a victory.